So if you're a Marine and you're interested in grooming standards in any way, shape, or form, I would encourage you to read MARADMIN 124/25 because this MARADMIN is providing interim guidance and announces upcoming policy changes regarding exceptions to policy for uniform and grooming standards based on a medical condition. I'm talking about beards. So listen up. In the MARADMIN, they said that the strength of the Marine Corps has always been its people. Ensuring the health, resilience, and discipline of our Marines and sailors is essential to sustaining our warfighting capability and maintaining the high standards required to remain ready for any challenge. These standards ensure we remain the world's premier fighting force, ready to fight and win with unwavering readiness, discipline, and lethality. Background. All personnel authorized to wear the Marine Corps uniform must comply with Marine Corps uniform and grooming standards per reference Bravo. Medical conditions may necessitate temporary modifications. Examples include a service member recovering from surgery requiring a brace or sling, a service member diagnosed with pseudofolliculitis barbae, or other facial skin conditions / wounds needing to temporarily refrain from clean shaving, or an injured service member requiring alternative footwear. Immediate action. Military medical officers, when a medical procedure or condition necessitates modifying a service member's uniform or grooming standards as defined by reference B, the medical officer will provide a written waiver recommendation for the specific modifications. Commanding officers. Commanding officers will review the medical officer's recommendations and, in consultation with the MO, approve or disapprove the ETP. Service members with approved ETPs, which is the exception of policy, must retain and readily produce a copy of their approved ETP whenever deviating from the standards outlined in reference B. Every time they say reference B, they're talking about the uniform and grooming standards. This ETP may be presented in either hard copy or digital format, amplifying information on PFB. PFB is a medical condition that may require modified facial grooming education and treatment time. This interim guidance reaffirms existing treatment plans and clarifies commanders' responsibilities in supporting these protocols, with the ultimate goal of returning service members to grooming standards and ensuring maximum warfighting readiness. Interim guidance for facial grooming modifications. PFB is a 4-phase treatment approach outlined in detail in reference C, which you can look up in there. During these phases, an MO may recommend modifying grooming standards and endorse the use of clippers. The following is a summary of each phase. Wow, geez, if summaries. Phase 1, control of mild cases. Avoid shaving for up to 4 weeks until all lesions have subsided while undergoing medical treatment. Phase 2, control of moderate to severe cases or those cases unresponsive to Phase 1. Avoid shaving for up to 8 weeks if initially starting Phase 2, or up to an additional 4 weeks if continuing from Phase 1 with hair removal by depilatory treatment according to treatment plan. Phase 3, cases unresponsive to Phase 2 treatment. Continue Phase 2 protocols for up to an additional 4 weeks. The MO may then recommend continued treatment based on the patient's response, and if necessary, a further period of modified grooming standards. Phase 4, optional. Control of cases unresponsive to Phase 3 or recurring frequently. Referral to dermatology for possible laser treatment. This treatment is government funded, but a service member is not required to undergo laser treatment. Medical evaluations. As with other medical conditions requiring modified uniform or grooming standards, medical officers will recommend and the company or the commanding officer will approve or disapprove the modification. This change replaces the previous guidance in reference A. Documentation. When modified facial grooming standards are authorized, NAVMAC 11830 will be used to document the ETP. The new NAVMAC aims to improve communication between the member medical providers and command teams throughout the 4-phase treatment plan. Command monitoring. Commanding officers with service members diagnosed with PFB must actively monitor the 4-phase treatment plan as outlined in reference C to assist the service member in returning to compliance as defined in reference B. Administration. NAVMAC Form 11830. This form is not yet available through standard channels at forms.documentservices.dla.mil. In the interim, download the draft form from the Manpower and Reserve Affairs, Manpower Plans and Policy Division. Jesus. Manpower Military Police Branch. Website at // and then, it has the website there. Administrative separation. Marines needing a uniform or grooming ETP based on a medical condition for over 1 year may be considered for administrative separation due to incompatibility with service. Coordinating instructions. Within 90 days of this MARADMIN's release, all service members with a current PFB diagnosis must be reevaluated by a medical officer. Reevaluation will assess that the service member's current treatment protocol and determine the need for further treatment. If the MO determines that the service member's condition warrants an ETP, the MO will use a revised NAVMAC to facilitate communication between the service member, medical, and COs. Effective immediately, this MARADMIN supersedes reference A and aligns treatment of PFB with all other medical conditions, impacting modifications to uniform and/or grooming standards. The changes in this MARAD will be incorporated into a forthcoming Marine Corps order. This message applies to the Marine Corps total force. Released, authorized by Brigadier General David R. Everly, Director, Manpower Plans and Policy Division. Interesting. So EFP, let's see, what is our PFB? Pseudofolliculatus barbae. So what is that? Let's find that out. Oh, bumps, razor bumps. Pseudofolliculitis barbae is a common inflammatory reaction of the hair follicle, most often on the face as a result of shaving, also known as razor bumps or shaving bumps. It can also occur on any site where hair is shaved or plucked, including the axilla, pubic area, and legs. Folliculitis barbae presents similarly, but is due to infection. Oh, interesting. Folliculitis barbae and pseudofolliculitis barbae can coexist. Who gets pseudofolliculitis barbae? Although PFB can occur in men of all races, it predominantly affects men of African ancestry, approximately 45 to 80%. So it affects black guys a lot more than it affects white guys for some reason. It says that this is likely due to a greater prevalence of tightly curled, coarse hair in the African population. It says a study demonstrated that the presence of a single nucleotide substitution in the hair follicle companion layer specific keratin is an additional risk factor. It can also affect women of all races, especially occurring in the groin. Interesting. So if you're shaving your pubic region instead of getting laser hair removal, you could be affected by pseudofolliculitis down there. So things to think about. Let's see here. It's also associated with improper shaving technique and is more common with blade razor users compared to electric shavers. Okay, interesting. What causes pseudofolliculitis barbae? Let's see. It says razor bumps are thought to be caused by intrafollicular or transfollicular penetration of tight curly hair, often of coarse nature. They may also occur in skin folds or scar tissue, allowing straight hair to re-enter. This often occurs due to close shaving, as hair cut results in a sharp-pointed end and may re-enter by either piercing the skin surface, transfollicular, retracting beneath the skin surface and pierce the follicular epithelium, intrafollicular. This subsequently leads to a foreign body inflammatory reaction. Okay, basically meaning that your body becomes inflamed from itself because the hair is treated as if it's a foreign thing when it's getting into other follicles that's not supposed to get into, when it curves back into the skin. The injured follicles are highly susceptible to infection, causing folliculitis barbae. Interesting. What are some clinical features of pseudofolliculitis barbae? An acne-like eruption. An eruption of acne. Presenting as ingrown hairs associated with flesh-colored or red follicular papules. Papules are a plural of papule, which is elevated, solid, palpable lesions that are less than 1 centimeter in diameter. Most often on the face and neck of men after shaving. Under the jawline is typical, a site where the hair follicles grow in various directions. PFB may also occur in any site where hair is shaved or plucked, including the axilla, pubic area, and legs. Interesting. May be itchy or tender. Lesions may bleed when shaved. May coexist with and be aggravated by eczema/dermatitis. That would make sense, because if you got eczema and dermatitis, then you have these hair follicles penetrating your skin. It's going to just make everything worse. Once healed, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and scarring may occur. Like it said before, pseudofolliculitis barbae is more common in those with darkly pigmented skin. It is also more likely to occur with those curly and coarse hair, or in those with curly and coarse hair. What are the complications of pseudofolliculitis barbae? Folliculitis barbae, abscess, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, scarring, including keloid scarring. I don't know what that means. All right. So for what's most important, what is the treatment and prevention for pseudofolliculitis barbae, or razor bumps? The safest and most definitive cure is to discontinue shaving activity. Thus, patients should have the cause of PFB clearly explained to them. This may be unsuitable for many, e.g. work, cultural, or personal reasons. If shaving is discontinued, it may take several weeks for the inflammatory response to cease whilst hair regrows. General measures. Ensure proper shaving technique. I didn't know there was a proper shaving technique. I was just told to drag a razor across my face. Let's see. Or trialing between different techniques to find which one suits best. It may also be beneficial to shave in the direction of the follicle, not against it. Do not stretch the skin. Use short strokes. Use sharp blades. Avoid shaving in the same area twice. Leave approximately 1 millimeter of stubble. Shave with the non-shaving hand behind the back to reduce the temptation to make the skin taut and therefore produce an extra close shave. Trial switching from a blade razor to an electric shaver. Reduce shaving activity only once every other day. Consider alternative hair removal techniques, e.g. laser therapy. Ensure skin is very well moisturized. Preparations containing glycolic acid can exfoliate the skin surface and reduce the risk of new inflamed spots. And there's a bunch of other measures, but anyway. So what I get from this is basically the point is this MARADMIN that was released, there is new grooming standards, not grooming standards, but there's new ways for them to go about dealing with service members who have pseudofolliculitis barbae. And they can provide you, there's more guidance on how to determine how to give you basically a no-shave chit is essentially what this is all about. The medical officers actually, no joke, will determine what phase you're in, whether your case is mild or how mild your case is. And then they have a no joke plan for fixing your pseudofolliculitis case if you're affected by razor bumps. And they have like an actual methodical plan of like how they're going to go about modified facial grooming standards while you're undergoing treatment for razor bumps or pseudofolliculitis barbae. And it sounds like the COs get involved as far as signing off on it and everything. And all of these treatments are government funded which makes sense because they should be government funded since it's part of medical treatment. And if you're required to shave because of the government is telling you to shave, then the government should pay for it, right? The interesting thing about this that I read, though, to me, is the administrative separation part. Because it says, and I already read this, but the piece where it says Marines needing a uniform or grooming ETP based on a medical condition for over 1 year may be considered for administrative separation due to incompatibility with the service. So they're not saying that you can have beards. They're saying that, look, we will help facilitate getting you to a place where you're not suffering from razor bumps. But if you are needing to have a deviated exception to policy for more than 1 year, you could be considered for, but if you need to have a uniform or grooming exception to policy based on that medical condition for more than 1 year, you may be considered for administrative separation due to incompatibility with the service. So that's interesting. Well, anyway, hopefully this video helped you out and it prevented you from having to read through the MARADMIN, which sometimes they can be kind of dry and hard to read. So it's more, I would rather watch a video on somebody else talking about it and just listen to them break it down for me than read through a MARADMIN. But unfortunately, I have to read through MARADMINs because it's kind of a responsibility and an obligation for me. Actually, the funny thing is one of my former Marines who just PCS'd sent this to me and recommended that I make a video on this because he thought, hey, this could be something that could be beneficial to people. So here we are. Anyway, so I appreciate you guys. Hope you got something out of this. And, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Let me know if you think that this new policy is a good thing. Let me know if you think this makes things more complicated, or let me know if you think this is a bad thing. I'd be curious to hear what everyone's opinion is. So let me know what you think about this in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.